Hey guys, Nostalgic Dan here with a new recent pickups for you guys, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys everything I picked up in the month of July. Not a whole bunch of stuff, but some really cool items in here still, so let's jump into it. I didn't really pick up a whole lot this month, and that's actually mainly because I was saving up to buy a new HD LED TV, which I'm really happy with. It's a smart TV, so it's got like all the apps built in, and I also kind of began the process that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and that's getting all my systems and all my game consoles hooked up without ever having to deal with wires again. So I got like surge protectors, switcher boxes, a video upscaler for the retro consoles, and everything just looks so great on this new TV, and even retro games look really great on this HD TV with the upscalers, so I'm really happy about that process finally happening. And the first main item I have here is something I've been really anticipating because I have been dying to check out this very critically acclaimed visual novel, and finally it's available in English on the consoles. So of course I had to get the Steins Limited Edition. This is a PS Vita version, also available for PS3 though. I've done an unboxing on this really nice limited edition, and I got this from Rice Digital, so it's the lab member version which came with this limited edition, and this really cool t-shirt which I'm wearing, but you can check out the unboxing and learn more about the contents of the set. Steins is one of the most critically acclaimed visual novels out there. I've been hearing so much about it for years now, so I've been dying to check it out. Now that I checked it out, I think it's an absolutely phenomenal visual novel, one of the best visual novels I've played and read through in quite some time. First of all, it's actually really long for a visual novel. I clocked in at around like 30 hours to read through like the main story, and that's to get the true ending because there's multiple endings. And there's a lot of reading to do, and there's also a lot of like side reading to do with like text messages, and a lot of like notes for certain words will pop up, and then you can read more like backstory on certain terminology and stuff like that, which is really interesting. That's one really interesting facet about this game, is it's a visual novel, but it's one of the more intricate and like interactive visual novels I've experienced in quite some time, and that's mainly because of the cell phone. It has this mechanic in here where you can bring up your cell phone, and then they have like phone triggers, and there's certain moments where you can either choose to call someone or choose to text someone or not, and that's actually like the extent of your dialogue choices in here. There really are no dialogue choices. Your dialogue choices are a matter of like choosing to answer a phone call or not, or how you reply to certain text messages and all that. That's really intricate, and that makes this one of the most tough visual novels to kind of get all the endings, because it's really intricate. Because even if you mess up and reply to like just one certain text the wrong way, that can skew you in a whole nother direction to get a different kind of ending that you probably weren't expecting. So it's very intricate. I would definitely recommend using a guide if you want to try and get all the endings, because it's really quite complex. But it's really great. It's got a really wonderful cast of characters. The whole cast of characters is so quirky and interesting in their own regards. Main protagonist is like this overly paranoid type of guy. He's like a mad scientist kind of guy, overly paranoid, conspiracy theorist and all that. And the story is heavily based on this concept of time traveling, and a lot of it I think is really based on this concept of what they call the butterfly effect. And the butterfly effect is this concept that like every action kind of has an equal and opposite reaction. There's a cause and then there's an effect. And this is kind of results in this kind of epic struggle for this one main character who's trying to wrap his head around having so much power at his kind of disposal. It's really interesting story. It's very lighthearted and funny at times, and then it can be very dark and really morbid sometimes actually. So it'll give you a wide range of emotions for sure. It's just so interesting. It's just a really wonderful visual novel. Fantastic art style. The art style is just incredible. It's got a really great soundtrack too. I really dig a lot of the music in here too. But just a really great visual novel that's just very intricate compared to a lot of other visual novels out there. And the story is definitely worth experiencing. It's a powerful story, and I think you kind of got to just suspend your disbelief a little bit, because there is some stuff in here that's kind of hard to believe for sure, but suspend your disbelief and just enjoy a really wonderful story here that's really powerful and has a wide range of emotions for you to enjoy. Definitely one of the best visual novels I've read through in quite some time. And next I have a recently released game that unfortunately I haven't had a whole lot of time to play, but I have played a few opening hours or so, and that is Lost Dimension for the PS Vita, also available on the PS3. And Lost Dimension is an RPG by a relatively young development studio. At its core, it's an open strategy RPG, very similar to stuff like Valkyria Chronicles or more so XCOM, With regards to the story in Lost Dimension, it doesn't seem like it's anything overly special with regards to the story. It comes off a bit generic, to be honest, and it's basically like some dude called The End is trying to destroy the world, and then there's this mysterious pillar that appears, which is like this big tower, and a group of 11 special forces get trapped in this tower, and essentially it's your job as a group to kind of ascend this tower and fight The End, who's waiting for you at the top of the tower, and try and save the world. But the story is kind of, fairly standard and very generic, so don't expect too much from the story. But with regards to the gameplay, it's actually pretty enjoyable. It's an open strategy RPG, like I mentioned, so all your characters can move within a radius on like these kind of battlefield maps. And you can move within a radius, and each character has various unique abilities to use, and they're all kind of different. Some are better up close, some are better as support characters, some are better at a range. All the characters have unique skill trees to them, so they can learn various skills, and you can kind of spec them how you want. So that's really interesting. I do really like the mechanic in here too, that it has this defer mechanic, so you can essentially defer a turn to another character. That way they can act again, and even if they've already acted, or you can keep deferring turns to like one character so they can keep acting again. That's pretty interesting. It also has this like sanity meter, which is pretty interesting. And as you take damage and all that, and as you use skills, the sanity meter will go down, and then you kind of lose some stats temporarily once you kind of lose your mind and all that. But that's really interesting. That's kind of important within the gameplay, as well as the deferring mechanic, like I mentioned. So that's pretty interesting. The gameplay is pretty fun, although it seems like the enemy variety isn't there too much. It seems like there's not a whole lot of variety with regards to the enemies you fight. But it is pretty fun and pretty enjoyable for like an open strategy RPG. So I'm really enjoying that, actually. And the other more interesting part of the story is the fact that there's a traitor within your group, and that's kind of a big part of this game, is that there's a traitor within your group who's kind of plotting against you guys from the inside, and it's up to you as a process of like talking with all your fellow allies and stuff like that, talking to people in the group and these visions that you're having to kind of figure out who the traitor is and kind of come to a decision as a group after a certain amount of time. After you progress a certain amount, you have to come to a decision as a group and kind of figure out who the traitor is, and they essentially get killed off, so it's kind of like Danganronpa-like. And it's funny too, because you don't actually have to pick the traitor, right? So like you can totally like not pick the traitor and you kill off someone innocent. And what's interesting is the traitor is actually random for each playthrough, so it can be a different traitor each time, so that's pretty interesting. And I am enjoying the gameplay, like I mentioned before. It's just, the story is just kind of what adds, so, but I am enjoying Lost Dimension. And next I have a 3DS game, which I picked up for a few bucks, and I've been wanting to check this out actually, because I really enjoy like puzzle platformer kind of games. And that's Crush 3D. Picked this up for a few bucks. I've been playing it on my 3DS. I'm actually really enjoying it, although it's really challenging. It gets really challenging really quick, but this is basically like a puzzle platformer, and it actually has a really interesting mechanic that's actually pretty cool. So essentially it's kind of like 3D, but then it's 2D at the same time. So you have this ability to kind of crush the environment, meaning you can kind of crush it down, and it'll become like 2D, and that'll allow you to do certain things that you might not have been able to do in 3D, and vice versa. And you can also kind of rotate the view and all that, so it's also about like taking into account perspective and how perspective can help you out to solve certain puzzles within the environment. You can collect certain collectibles and stuff like that. But it is actually quite challenging. I've been struggling with some of the later levels in this game, but I'm really enjoying it. I love me some puzzle kind of platformers, and this is a cheaper game you can get, so definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of like puzzle platformer type of games. And finally, I have a PS2 box set that I've been wanting to track down, and I got it for a really great price. It was like 15 bucks, so I couldn't pass it up. And that's the Magna Carta deluxe box set, which comes with the game for the PS2, an art book, which is also like a strategy guide, and a poster. And I really wanted to check this out because I really enjoyed Magna Carta 2. I played that on the 360 a while back and beat it, and I really enjoyed it. And there's not a whole lot of like high quality action RPGs on the consoles, so I thought Magna Carta 2 was pretty solid, and I really enjoyed it. And so I'm interested in checking out Magna Carta Tears of Blood here for the PS2. So I'm really happy to add this box set to the collection. Okay guys, and that pretty much do it for my recent pickups, covering everything I picked up in the month of July. As always, be sure to let me know what you guys picked up recently or what you guys are playing. Always interested in hearing that. And like I mentioned before, I didn't really pick up a whole lot this month, but that's because I bought a new HD TV, smart TV. Really great TV for gaming. It's got a great refresh rate, and it's pretty cool because you can save like individual picture mode settings, so I can adjust the colors for like every single console to have it like saved as its own setting, and you can adjust like game latency and stuff like that. Just really phenomenal TV for gaming. And I finally began this process, which I've been wanting to do for a long time, getting all my consoles hooked up, never ever having to deal with wires again or swapping wires and stuff like that. Just hit a power button on a console, flip a switch on a switcher, and you're good to go playing with the best quality possible. And that's really awesome to finally have this kind of like definitive setup where I just don't have to deal with wires ever again, and just best quality possible. That's really fantastic. I've been wanting to do that for quite a while. Still need a few more items here and there to kind of finish off the process, but really happy about that. As always, thank you for watching so much. Until next time, please take it easy, guys. Bye, guys.